Good morning. Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. That's right. The boys are back in town.
We
I'm
are.
Harvey Freed. Hey, Harry Glanz. You're to my right. There
Good morning, Harvey. Morning, everybody. Great to be here. Little thin Lizzie from Paul this morning. There you go. I like it. Anyways, Harvey went downtown last night, saw the Wings play one of the best games they played in a long time. 2-1 overtime win. Larkin puts it in overtime. We were going crazy. It was phenomenal. It was a great time being in Detroit. And, of course, we have the Lions on Monday night, man. But we're here to talk about mortgages and real estate. Oh, that's sexy at 8 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday morning.
Lisa Lawson also joins us from the office. Hey, Lisa, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
Totally representing the East Side. You brought Amy Cairns in. Amy, how are you?
Good. Good morning.
Amy's with the Realty Executive Hometown in Shelby Township. And, of course, you handle a lot of Macomb business, but all over Southeast Michigan. You've been on the show a few times. I sort of said to you right before we started, I said, you know what, it's really fun to buy homes. And I had a couple closings Thursday and Friday, and it's fun and exciting. And it never leaves you, Lisa, that's for sure. A couple first-time home buyers, really exciting stuff. They're going to be building equity, building their credit up. And that's what it's all about. Can you find a house that fits your needs in today's marketplace? And we'll get into that a little bit, Lisa, because it's starting to feel like it's a little bit more of a buyer's market out there. And, of course, Amy, you'll share a little bit of this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we were talking about
that in the car on the way here. So we were just talking about how it's starting to, I'm use the word soften or balance a little bit finally. So I think previously new buyers would kind of get discouraged. They would say, hey, I'm putting in all these offers. I'm not getting accepted. I'm putting in offers over asking. And now we see homes on market. We just said 80 days. We just got one under contract. Amy did. Was it yesterday we got it?
Yeah, like 2 days ago.
2 days ago.
Absolutely. First-time home buyer had a great opportunity, been sitting on the market a little bit. We were able to come in under asking, and it's very exciting.
Yeah, buyers are winning in today's marketplace. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So something came up at my closing yesterday, and I don't know if any of the parties are going to be listening, but I'll go for it anyways. And, the veteran, it was a VA loan, and he had lost out on about 2 or 3 different offers and really wanted a couple of these different homes. And then this one came up, and we came in a little bit stronger. And one of the things was being questioned is, how come he had to give 60 days occupancy? But he did. He got the house. He was able to close, but he did give some occupancy back to the seller. So, of course, Lisa, you'll explain that a little bit. When we close on a house, maybe my new house isn't done. Maybe I'm still even searching, or might be moving into an apartment, or have to leave the kids in school for another few months if it comes springtime. So this does come up quite a bit in negotiations, offering the seller something back, like days of occupancy.
Yeah, I mean, not everybody needs it. Some sellers have already moved out and, or they have a plan, a contingency plan. Every scenario is different. And part of being a good negotiator is figuring out what the other side needs, right? And it doesn't have to be that complicated. It's just a question. Pick up the phone. Answer your phone.
Absolutely. That can be the difference between getting your client's offer accepted just because the realtor asked the question, does your client need occupancy? They might need it. If you don't know it, you want to give it to them if they need it, if you want the house.
So, Amy, the topics that were the hot topics back, say, 3-4 years ago, all the way up, say, maybe through this spring, even in the summer, was inventory, right? And then it became interest rates, all right? Everybody, this industry is very fluid. There's always something that somebody is either looking at a sticking point or a jumping off point. Okay, so right now, remember that there was a lack of inventory. Now there's more inventory. It was mortgage interest rates. Everybody was waiting. Now rates are coming down. I still wouldn't wait to buy a house because home prices, the thing that's not going to change, home prices are going to continue to go up. But what we're seeing now is we're seeing more inventory coming on the market. Now, certain areas are still very, very hot, but in general now, aren't you finding that you're seeing more and more houses stay on the market a little longer?
We sure are. Absolutely. When I'm taking a client out, we're having more choices. Before, 6 months, a year ago, we were very limited. There was sometimes just 1 or 2 houses. Now I'm showing up to 5 houses a lot of times.
That's wonderful. That's really good news going into the spring. Now, at this time in our area, right, November, December, January, February, everybody wants to think it's very, very slow, and everybody wants to wait. If you continue to wait, there's going to be more competition coming in. More buyers are going to come into the market. People still want to buy homes. So our suggestion is, we always say this, said it for a long time, what are you waiting for? Why wait? If you wait, you're inviting other people to come in with you by the time you get ready.
We take all your calls this morning at 248-539-9797. 1 hour of mortgage and real estate talk. We go back to buyers negotiations and stuff. So we started talking about occupancy and inventory. Well, let's tie that in a little bit. 60 days of occupancy is really the max because a purchase agreement stating that you have to get into the house. And a lender, when you're getting a mortgage, that is the max, 60 days. Now, what you guys do outside of things, we don't want to know. We don't want to know about it. But there's no doubt. Now, this could be free occupancy, or it could be where the sellers are like, look, we're willing to pay you whatever your mortgage payment is. 1/30th PITI typically means I'm going to cover for as many days I stay there. I'll take whatever your mortgage payment is, divide it by 30, and I'll pay you back for those days.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're in a competitive situation, I've seen it where it's not pity. I've seen it where it's over pity. I mean, technically, it doesn't have to be pity. It can be whatever's stated on the purchase agreement, right?
Everything's negotiable.
Everything's
Absolutely.
negotiable. So if you already know that, maybe come back and you're in a highest and best, because we're not saying it doesn't happen anymore, although the market's starting to become more balanced. There are other edges, or I guess you can give yourself. And one of them is, well, hey, if everyone else is paying 1/30th, what if I pay a different amount? Maybe 1/30th is an XYZ number, and I'm going to pay a couple $100 more. So now you're enticing the seller. You're giving them a little bit extra for the inconvenience that that's happening, and all the other things. So it's all about negotiation, and now more than ever, as the market becomes more balanced, you have to have a very skilled negotiator to get your offer accepted. But before it was all about, I hate to say the numbers, but there's all these little nuances that people don't think of. And I think that's what's really giving the people who are getting the offers accepted their edge. What do you think?
I definitely agree. That and just the communication you have with the listing agent when you're representing the buyer, or conversely, that's who you're going to be working through the transaction with, and you want to have a good relationship with them, someone who can communicate effectively.
Absolutely.
When you see another realtor that who's on the other side of the transaction, it has to give you a great sense of comfort, because you know who you're dealing with. You've had relationships with them before. You've had transactions. You know when you pick up the phone and you call them, you say, hey, listen, I have a buyer that wants to make an offer. You automatically have a comfort in that relationship and that negotiation. That's the first step in negotiation, is making people feel comfortable in the transaction. And when you have that, coupled with the fact that you might give them more occupancy, the convenience in the transaction. If somebody wants to be out in 30, wants you out at occupancy, that seller might have nowhere to go. They might have to hire a mover right then and there. It might cost them tens of thousands more to move immediately. So whatever they're getting in a purchase price is not going to go ahead and overcome the inconvenience and the cost. So giving somebody more occupancy is really having the seller being more convenient in that negotiation as well.
And there's other edges, I think, just besides occupancy, that you can give with good communication. Sometimes you have sellers that don't want to be bothered fixing small things or updating small things. So you can do like a pass fail. I would never say do not get an inspection. Never, never, never. But you could do more of a pass fail inspection, meaning we're not going to ask the seller to maybe update these small things or change out this outlet or whatever these small things might be. It's either going to be, a complete pass or a complete fail. And I think that can sometimes, move things along as well. And there's many others. I mean, we're just giving a few of the examples, but part of it is just figuring out, like Amy said, you got to figure out what the other side needs without them telling you.
I'm going to go there, guys. Look, there's a huge difference between the lender you're working with, the real estate agent you're working with, even the title company for that matter. The communication, of course, is key, but the expertise is really where I'm going this morning. What I'm hearing out on the streets, I had some calls from an agent. Lisa, I brought it up to you. They wanted to get a one-unit spot approval for an FHA. It's doable. And these local brokers had no clue about it.
Yeah, they just said you can't.
Yeah, they just said they can, or they don't want it. In other words, they don't know what they're doing. And there's still a lot of that out there, and it might be hurting you. And one of the things we want to reach out is, definitely give us a call. Let us be that second opinion. It's one thing we've always stressed. Call us at 1-800-LOW-RATE. I mean, it's so easy. We answer the phone. We give you great advice. What Lisa, is off the chart. So, I mean, and you can work with me, 35 years in the industry. Harry's been around for 40 years. So it's such valuable information. And especially when we're talking about moving and making negotiations. So we've talked about 60 days of occupancy and this whole thing in negotiations. Sellers' concessions and how you can approach those are really key in today's negotiations.
And they're definitely coming back, and I'm seeing, in this market more and more. A year ago, seller concessions was a true gift. You really didn't see it. You surely didn't see it on offers from the get-go. You might have seen some come in the tail end after an inspection. There might have been a couple little things, and instead of having them fixed, they'll be like, we'll give them $500, but that was more post inspection type of concession. Now I'm starting to see offers where the concessions are up front, initially helping people with the closing costs, because maybe they've got just enough, but once they get in the house, they might be cash poor for a while. Well, so they're saying, hey, can we get 1%, 2%, whatever the number may be. And as this market continues to ebb and flow, right, because things are always changing, I think we're going to continue to see a little bit more of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that really makes all the difference that can make a big difference to a buyer
Yeah.
in putting a deal together. It's good for the seller too.
All right, also, these great real estate agents are always pointing out all these great inspections that we talk about, and they could be pass-fail inspections, but they have to be done. And let me just go over a few of the inspections that sometimes get overlooked. Well, the ones that don't get overlooked first is the home inspection. So now we're hiring a professional. These are eyes above the ground. He brings a ladder. He can look into the attic, and he can really check all the age and the condition and quality of the furnaces and the HVAC, the air conditioning, every unit, the electrical panels and all that. But they're coming back with some other interesting things like, how about all the radon gas tests that are being done? And they're finding out that there's high levels of radon gas in these homes. This is an inexpensive test that can be done. And what generally happens when when the seller finds out they had gas in their house and they've lived there for 10 years, yeah, that's a serious issue. Mm-hmm. So we'll go into that a little bit. It can be remedied easily by getting the filtration system that can get the radon gas out of the basement and suck it up. And this is huge. You can then go back and say, look, sellers, I got bad news for you. The worst part is you have to pay $1,500 to put a unit into the house. Second of all, you've been sucking in a lot of radon gas for 10 years, which is even scarier for a lot of people.
Well, they're going to need to do that anyway. So on an inspection, a seller might get a little bit angry. They'll say, well, we've lived here for 30 years. We've never had a problem. Well, bottom line is you don't want to sell a house that has issues. So you have to go ahead. It really protects everybody in the transaction. Correct. It doesn't, I never liked when I heard, I was going to say I hate, but I'm never going to use that word.
No, that's not.
I never liked it when everybody said, well, this inspector's a deal killer. No, he's not a deal killer. He's helping, right? It's a health and safety issue. It helps the seller understand what's going on in their house. That's number one. And number two, your buyer's covered. You never want in a seller's concession, Amy, somebody to come back at you after you sold the house saying you didn't disclose something.
Definitely. Absolutely. And another good inspection is a sewer inspection. I have an early morning tomorrow with the client opted to do a sewer inspection along with their general.
Yeah. So also, what about they go in the attic? They check the insulation factor out there too. You could have heat going out of your, we got the break. Want to get into it, but there's so many things on a home inspection that you really need to do. And Amy, when we come back, I'm going to ask you the magic question. Coming back from the break, how do you foresee the market going into the winter and then transitioning into spring?
All right, a lot more information for you. Keep it here on 97.1 The Tickets, the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. We'll take your calls at 248-539-9797. We'll be back. Welcome back to the show, 816. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. You can call us at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
Welcome to the mortgage and real estate jungle, Harvey.
There you go.
Welcome to that jungle.
Here we are, also powered by CMG Home Loans in all 50 states. If you need a mortgage, give us a call at the office. You will definitely get everything you need, all the answers to those tough questions. We are NMLS 1820 equal housing lender. Again, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. If you want to work with experienced people, I'm telling you guys, there's a huge difference. I have these conversations weekly with folks, and I'm like, you did what? And I'm just still shaking my head. I think I told it to Harry about 20 years ago. I said, Harry, is there going to be a use for mortgage lenders? Oh boy, is there, more than ever before, where I thought the technology was going to take over. Folks, you need to have that experience. Again, you're signing your name on $150,000 to $400,000 for.
Do you want to tell your smoke
buyers?
Detector story
All right,
before we go to Amy in the market? I'd rather hear Amy. I'd rather have Amy talk about what's going on in the market and going to happen for fall and spring. But Harvey has a smoke detector story.
All right,
there is a law. There's a state law in the state of Michigan, and most states have this law that you have to have smoke detectors in the house. Notably, outside the bedrooms, if you have children, outside their bedrooms.
In the bedrooms, even, for that matter,
in the bedroom, everywhere in the house, you need smoke detectors. Well, if a house was built in 1923 and it hasn't changed hands but a couple times, maybe they didn't put in a smoke detector, Harvey. So maybe it goes, no pun intended, undetected until they go sell their house. And then when somebody goes in, whether it's an inspector or an appraiser or a knowledgeable realtor, and they walk in the house and they say, Mr. Seller, Miss Seller, you need to put smoke detectors in, it shouldn't raise anybody's eyebrows because they should have been put in there, Amy, in the first place.
Absolutely. It's a very simple thing you can do and to prepare your home for sale and keep it safe for your own family and then for the next one to come in.
So the why is, why does this come up? Because it comes up. It comes up on inspections. It comes up on appraisals. And as a seller, you need to do this for the buyer. Now, the buyer might accept the fact that there isn't a smoke detector in the house, but we're not going to close the loan unless the house is safe. And that benefits everybody. So there you go, Harvey. That's the beginning, middle, and end of that story.
Nonetheless, Harry, also holiday season is quickly approaching. And yeah, I mean, sorry,
you know what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Something's going to happen in the holidays. You always see fires, and they're going to say, the reporter, Channel 7 Action News is going to be out there and say, and there was no smoke detectors in the house.
It's not stop. So let me throw it out there too. You can go to your local, call your city and see if they have some available. Also, the fire departments in a lot of the cities and townships around, especially around Southeast Michigan, they will offer them up for you. Ask your agent.
It's very important.
Maybe
we're not making light of it.
money.
It's a very serious subject that we have to have in
health and
inspections,
safety.
And it's all about health and safety when we go ahead and we do transactions. Amy, I got to get into the market with you. Lisa, you, Harvey, we're on the streets every day. Becky, John, everybody in our office. We talk to consumers every day, 10 times a day, 365 days a year. The market is changing. It's fluid. It's ever fluid. We talked about rates. We're talking about inventory. Where do you see your market going the end of this fall, going into the wintertime, and then turning over into the new year, January and February?
Well, I have to tell you, I am so excited. First of all, it's a great time. The pendulum is balancing for a long time. Sellers called all the shots, and now we're getting more balance. So it's more equal on both sides, which is really great. And it's still a fabulous time to sell a home. The pricing is still strong. We don't see it declining whatsoever, but there's more opportunity to make that match.
Let's go to, Becky just joined us. I think we're going to plug you in, Becky. Becky, I thought you were coming on in here. You're driving all the way from, I don't know, it says Flat Rock, Ann Arbor. You're somewhere in Southeast Michigan. Where are you?
I am driving in the studio right now. I should be there maybe like 10, 15 minutes, but wanted to chime in on the smoke detector thing, because if anyone that was listening to our show last week, you heard that my furnace exploded and pushed smoke all through my house, and oddly enough, I was right in the process of changing all my smoke detectors. So the batteries, I was leaving to go get new batteries, and so none of those went off because I wasn't home anyway. But, so it's important that whether it's FHA or conventional, you need to have smoke detectors in the house for these exact reasons, because you never know what's going to happen.
twice a year used to be a reminder when you fall back with the time change or you
Exactly,
spring
and that's
forward.
coming up in
That
just a
used to-
minute.
Right, and that used to be the time that we would remind folks. Of course, the show's been on for 25 years. Remind people, look, health and safety, these are the important things you need to do. It also falls in line, Lisa, with we had the maintenance guy on and home maintenance and how much you need to put away each year. The experts say that you should put away. So if your house is a $300,000 house, you should at least have 1% put away, $3,000 for your budget. And that budget would include maybe a new hot water heater or adding more insulation or again, whether it be smoke detector, something more small, but at least 1% to keep your home up to snuff, keep it really moving in the right direction.
Maintenance.
You want the maintenance there because that way your home will always look great. Talk about move-in condition homes. A well-maintained home, and Amy, you're out there with all those buyers. You know when you walk in if that house is a well-maintained home.
Oh, you sure do. A lot of times, right when you're on the front porch, opening the front door. I mean, even is it fresh and clean? Did they take the time are there cobwebs all over? It starts there and it permeates as you take every step.
Deferred maintenance can definitely impact how much money you're going to get when you sell your home and how much a buyer is willing to pay you. And everyone's like, it's just deferred maintenance. No, that's a big deal. If you're trying to get top dollar, especially as we start to transition into a more competitive and balanced market, this isn't going to be the sellers get to call all the shots anymore. You know what I mean? I think it's so important that you're taking care of all these things. Plus, you live there. Why wouldn't you want to?
Absolutely. And when you walk by the furnace and you check it out and you see the furnace filter, you can see the dust kind of built up around it. I mean, that just
Right.
that doesn't give you a good feeling. If they aren't changing their furnace filter, they're not taking good care of the home.
Correct.
So, Amy, have you ever had the oh my God moment where you've been on the internet, you're pulling the pictures, you're pulling the listings, you're checking it out, and you walk up to the house, you open the door, and you look in and you go, you got to be kidding me. Oh, my
of
God,
course.
you got to be
Everyone's
kidding
had
me. What is going on
Right.
here? What's
That trick photography, those pictures,
That
you're like,
picture-
oh no.
Yeah, I need that photographer's number, right?
You mean they put their high school picture in there and then you open up the
Their
door and it's
glamour
not
shot.
that?
The glamour shots.
I've had clients not even want to take a step. They're like,
Yeah.
let's go to the next.
It happens all the time, right?
Yeah.
And so why would somebody, and we say this, we shake our head in the office, because we send appraisers in, we send inspectors in, and then we get the pictures back. And inevitably, there's water in the basement. Why would you let the appraiser inspector in the house if it just rained and you left the puddle down in your basement? Somebody call up, Harvey, give the number. I need to know the answer to the question.
I will give it
Why would-
248-539-9797. Here, what is right?
What is with that?
If your house is on the marketplace and you're not living there, I think that we've come across that quite a bit. You need to get over there. You need to truly work with that listing agent and make sure you have this great plan put together. Again, you definitely don't want to put it on the market, throw a lockbox up there, and then no one's even in the house. We've seen it in years past, especially with Michigan, pipes can freeze. We got the weather is going to be changing, and it's been so dry out here. You mentioned water in the basement. It's been so dry out recently. We don't know what the water issue might be. You might find out, though, starting tonight as they're predicting finally some rain coming our way.
Yeah, my favorite is I had a client one time have a roof leak. Now, they had it repaired and had it repaired by a professional, which is awesome. They never bothered to cover the water stains. So now you've got water stains inside. So of course, when an appraiser comes in, they see what they would consider water damage, even though it has been repaired. But again, why even throw a coat of paint, throw a coat of kills, be done with it. You've already done the hard part, which was the repair itself.
Yeah.
And don't leave any of those little things open, to question.
So we had Mike Township on from Paramount Appraiser. Shout out to Mike, great guy.
Hey,
Does
Mike.
a great job, and he is bound ethically to go ahead and put that on the appraisal. Anything that he sees as a health and safety or any type of detriment to that property, he has to put it on there. All right, so he is not going to risk his license and not put something on there like that. So again, somebody call in and tell me why you would know consciously that if it rained that night and you've had a history of leaky basement, why would you allow somebody in your house without cleaning it up first?
Don't do that. Don't do that. 248-539-9797. Becky, you still on the line or are you driving in here? We might have...
I'm still in the line, but I'm going to be talking to you guys till I get in there, so it's okay.
All right, good. Well, I'm going to continue the conversation because we keep talking about this balanced market that we have now. So, again, buyers are taking back a little
Finally,
bit of
this
control.
is what everybody wanted. So let's get busy.
But Amy, I mean, most sellers are buyers also, So when you're talking with someone, say,
Absolutely.
look, we're going to be looking at houses this afternoon. You're selling yours. And you want that same love that you're going to be getting when you buy a new house. You're a seller also. You want to hand the keys over to somebody. In the old-fashioned days, that was really important to a lot of sellers that, hey, I raised my family in here. People seem like they used to stay in the house for 20 or 30 years back then, where nowadays, what is it? Average 4 to 6 years of living in a house, because there are a lot of folks that will do more flips nowadays, and it's become pretty profitable with all the appreciation. But there's no doubt that there's an opportunity there for a seller when he goes to buy the house. Yeah, again, wear the same shirt you're wearing. You stick your chest out there and I'm not negotiating. Well, you want the sellers to negotiate with you on that next house.
Absolutely. And there's, potential sellers out there that have been just waiting for this market because they also didn't want to pay, get in a bidding war, an extreme bidding war for their house. So it is a win-win all around. It's a great place for buyers and sellers.
Yeah, the step-up buyers definitely got their hands full because they're looking at spending even more money and going to that. So they want that same kind of negotiation, that opportunity to buy at what they feel is the right price. And that's really key. Oh, yeah, we do have open lines all morning long, 248-539-9797. All right, that music says we're up against our second break here. When we come back, I think Becky Ellie will finally get here. She's always got tons to share, tons of information all morning long. 248-539-9797. We'll be back. Welcome back to the show. We are giving you tons of information this morning, as we always try to. 248-539-9797 if you want to join the conversation. Mortgages and real estate. Pat Caputo, he'll be coming in with sports next. Tons of cool things. We got the Lions game Monday night here at home versus Tampa Bay. I hope Tampa Bay continues to be short. So we're missing a secondary here. We're missing some
Ready
guys.
for a prediction, Harvey? Lions win.
Oh, I like that.
Lions
Let's go
win.
with that.
Yes.
Lions win.
Hey, let's roll off. We got a question here about construction loans. John, you're calling in from Rochester Hills. Go ahead, please.
Hi. So my question revolves around construction loans. I'm going to be building a new home, and I'm going to self-fund it. I have enough money to do that. But some people have told me, even though you have the money to self-fund it, it might be better to get a construction loan, because if you do that, then the bank or whomever, the lending company, they will do periodic inspections before they release certain amounts of money to the builder. So I wanted to get your perspective on that, but then you're also paying interest, I guess, for that service. So
I'm going to let Lisa drive with that. That's a great question, John. I really like it. I'm going to let Lisa answer that.
Yes.
Because, Lisa, the first thing I was thinking before you get into it was you just mentioned it. The inspections are really key.
Correct.
But you're going to be paying a small amount of money in interest. Well, if you self-fund it, aren't you taking the money out of your investments now?
Correct.
And last time I checked, the stock market was flourishing, but that's another conversation. Let's talk about new construction loans and why.
Yeah, so new construction loans with draws is what you're talking about. And there is almost like a kind of what your friend's explaining, a safeguard put in place. So you're going to make sure that actual permits are pulled properly, that each permitted section, so like when your basement gets dug, when you put framing, when your drywall's up, there will be the appraiser will come along with what we call a consultant, and they're going to make sure that things are done properly before the next point gets moved on to. Because nothing is worse than having to tear things down at the end because you can't prove that XYZ was done like how it should have been at that time. So and every time that that inspection point happens, that is when the draw then gets approved. So you might get 10% now, 10% of this next draw. However it's set up, there's different ways to set it up. But after that inspection, then that money is released. So it keeps everybody kind of on the up and up, right? It goes into an escrow account that's managed, and to get that money out, and so the workers can get paid again, they got to make sure these steps are done, that it passed code and it passed the inspection.
Have you hired your builder yet?
John?
I've interviewed a couple people, and I'm comfortable with one.
All right, good. And they are licensed, bonded, insured, and everything like that, so you won't have a problem. Have you drawn up the plans and specs and everything? So, how far are you into the process? Because we can walk you through.
Mm-hmm.
Lisa can walk you through every stage that you're going to need to go through. How far are you into it right now?
So I have architectural drawings that I'm comfortable with, and so I'm presenting those to builders and then getting feedback from them in terms of what their estimate is in terms of pricing.
Great,
so
perfect.
I own the lot. I've had it surveyed. So I'm at that point of...
So you're at the point of making the decision.
Person, I guess,
Yeah, good. Well, we can help you out with that. You're at the point where you need to go ahead to the next phase, so Lisa can take that from there. But there's a process and it's an insured process, and it will help go ahead and guarantee the fact that A, the builder's doing what they're saying they're doing, and also B, the money is not going to be released for the next phase until the last phase gets approved. So
I do want to say something else too about this. Is this going to be a primary or a second home for you, sir?
Primary.
Primary? Okay, good. Okay.
Primary.
Because when you get the specs, right, we have to give that also to the appraiser. So they're going to compare your newly constructed home to other homes in the area that are going to be similar square footage and, the outbuildings and the rooms and all that. And so then your down payment ultimately will, be determined based off whether it was primary or a second home. And keep in mind, too, a lot of it's going to be a two-time close. So the first part of it is a draw. It will be a little bit of a higher rate. Once the home is completed, that's when it's converted to an end loan at a lower, more desirable rate. But during the draw period, it will be a variable rate that we can talk about.
Okay. I appreciate your info.
Of course.
John, thanks for the call. I really appreciate it. We'll give you a follow-up call. And just to give you some more information on that, anyone listening out there, the checks and balances is really how we answered that question. Checks and balances, by having a lender involved, before they release the money, they're also making sure that the work has been done. Of course, not only that, you have the cities coming out. So when you do get your roof, your permit for your roof. Then you've got your final electrical. There's a lot of steps along the way.
Well, Harvey, you've built a few homes in your time. You know
Yes, I
that
have.
process. And sometimes builders do what they say they're going to do. Sometimes they don't. And that's why along the way, before the money's released, we want to go ahead and we want to make sure we get it inspected. And to make sure that phase, whether you're in the rough phase, whether you're in the finish phase, whether you're in the electrical, the mechanicals, all those kind of things.
Make sure your foundation's correct, all of it.
After each phase, it gets inspected. So
A gentleman that we knew was buying a house, and sure enough, he was all along. He was excited. He was telling me last year, a friend of mine, and I said, "Oh, you check this builder out," and sure enough, he's not using that builder. He did more research, and he discovered that, wait a minute here. And one of the best things you can do is say, well, great, you've built 2 or 3 homes. Well, can I go ahead and call these people?
2 or 3.
Yeah, recently, let's just go there. Hopefully a lot more than that. But find out how the process went by talking with the most recent buyers that worked with that builder. It's a huge difference between new construction. Again, if you're dealing in a subdivision, that's a lot different.
It's a huge builder that
that's
only
a lot
does end loans.
different.
That's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, we're not talking about that. We're talking about from scratch. You own the lot, or you're buying the lot under land contract, whatever you might be
We're
doing.
not talking big builders like
No, it's an exciting time. He's
Right.
got the land. He bought it. It's free and clear.
Yep.
He had these plans drawn up, and now he's going to go ahead and shop it around, and he's going to build something that he's created.
And part
Really
of
exciting.
part
I
of
think
getting
it's
us
very
involved
exciting.
too is it's great that he can self-fund, but guess what? Bumps in the road always happen.
Yeah, you've got to keep some cash
And you gotta
reserves.
keep- exactly,
You got to
it's
keep
not
your
s-
cash on the sidelines a
Correct.
little bit because
Some
something
of
is
it.
going to come up, right,
Always.
Lisa?
Always.
It's going to go 20% over budget.
And
We know
usually-
that right away.
Yes, from doing this for many, many years, I hate to say it, the budget might be, we'll just put 300, but you're going to be spending at least 330. That is just the way it works. So getting a lender involved and having all those things already put in place so you can get the draws. And then, hey, if you decide at the end you want to pay it off, a little early because you're done and you're good, that's fine. But at least you put in another fail safe, right? That you're not going to run out of money because Harvey and I have also had a deal where someone called us desperate. The house was half built, remember?
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, we need more money to finish it. They can't live in it. They can't get a certificate of occupancy, but they don't have enough money to finish it. But it's at the point of construction that you can't put a loan on it.
Yeah,
It's a total mess. So please get us involved early so we can keep things like that from happening.
He was also worried about paying interest on the
Right.
loan. Now, on a construction loan, you only pay interest on what you take.
Yeah.
On the
So
draw,
let's
correct.
say we approve somebody for
so even if it's a
200
slightly
right.
higher, you're only getting it on the draw portion.
Right. We approve somebody for, say, a $200,000. I'm just throwing a number out there, $200,000 loan, but they only take 20
Correct.
up front, or they take 30. You're not
Correct.
paying on the 200. You're paying
Paying
on
on
the
the draw
20 or
amount.
30.
Yep.
All right, lots of information out there if you're building new construction. Get more professionals involved. That is really key. But I really liked
And-
a couple of things is finding out who they worked with recently.
Absolutely. And, we were talking about this, just gentleman's scenario is he owns a lot. He already has the plans.
Yeah.
But even if you're doing new construction in a subdivision, there's always a builder's representative, and everyone thinks that that's who they should use to make all your decisions. And I say, no, you need an agent, because even if you're buying a home in a subdivision, you still want your own real estate agent, somebody like Amy that's going to come in and make sure that your interests are represented, that you're getting everything that you want. You should still be represented, whether it is an existing home or one that hasn't been lived in.
That's
So,
a great point.
yeah.
I've had the opportunity to represent buyers in new construction scenarios, and it's an invaluable service to them because I'm working for them and making sure.
and not the builder. And that's a huge difference. And I think a lot of people don't realize that that's the case. They think that they have to just go through the quote unquote builder's representative. Absolutely not. You still need an agent to represent your interest as the buyer. So,
And they all co-op. Again, all the big builders, around Southeast, around the country, they
they
co-op. So real estate agents are already
Yep.
plugged in with them. They're already expecting whatever. They'll pay that commission to your real estate agent.
So don't worry
But
about it.
then
You
you've
just-
got the extra set of eyes and ears and maybe some professionalism that comes around with your expertise.
and everything
in
is
new construction.
negotiable, and your agent can do
Yes.
that for you. You know what I mean? A lot of new construction, you're going to be paying fees that somebody in an existing home might not have to deal with, like owner's policy as the buyer, but everything is negotiable, and you get your agent involved.
The
But you
housing
gotta have the
market
agent
is
to get
currently
involved.
entering a lot of transition. We've been waiting for this transition. A lot of encouraging signs, interest rates, reduction of mortgage interest rates.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a few more people more interested. Becky, there's more competition
Becky's
out there.
here.
No
Yes,
doubt
I
about
made it.
that.
Yes.
Lower
Good
rates,
morning.
Becky.
Yeah.
Maybe some more inventory out there. It's becoming a really nice buyer's market here in the fall.
Well, speaking of buyer's market, so because we are real life loan officers and we do this for a living,
Yes.
I actually was dropping something off at somebody's house, and I kind of it took longer than I expected because I thought I was just dropping it in the mailbox so they could sign it and I could come back. Well, then it's almost like catching Santa Claus mid drop,
Did you
and
have
so
breakfast?
I had
They made you breakfast or something?
I mean, it was fine. It ended up being a little bit of a longer conversation, but I got the document that I needed signed, so here I am. Yay! But yes, it is becoming. It's the most seller buyers market that we've seen in a minute, where there's a lack of inventory, but buyers are winning. There's concessions on deals right now, and the rates are. And there's a lot of refinance activity because the rates are finally moving. Where if you bought a house this time last year, chances are you got in the sevens. If it was a conventional mortgage or even FHA in some situations, but you can refinance right now. But this is helping the affordability that has been plaguing a lot of the buyers for so long. But it's kind of weird to me because the buyers were sitting on the sidelines because, some of them were worried about the interest rates, but then now here the rates are, a little bit more favorable and they're still hesitant to pull the trigger a little bit, even though they really are winning. This is that opportunity right before winter where if you want to make homeownership a reality, whether late in 2025 or anytime in 2026, this is when you need to start having the conversations with the lenders like ourselves.
Yeah. And, I want to piggyback on that. Oh, I will do that after we get back from the
well,
break.
okay.
I'm so sorry. I heard the music coming in.
Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. We got a full room full of expertise here. That's right. Harry Glanz, Becky Alley, Lisa Lawson. I'm Harvey Freed. Amy Cairns. When we come back, tons of information about buying and selling real estate all around the state. Keep it here. Welcome back to the show. Another 15 minutes or so of the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. Amy Cairns joins us from Realty Executives hometown, Shelby Township, and of course all around Southeast Michigan. Thanks a lot for coming in, Amy, and of course our staff here. Appreciation's been up all around. The median sales price, of course, only jumped 2%, but that's not really specific to Michigan or the Midwest. This is all around the country, and the folks down in Florida, boy, their prices went way up in the pandemic, and now they're coming a bit down. So we did see a list yesterday. I was reviewing some information, some data, showing some different states where the homes have come down a little bit more affordable, but Michigan specifically is not one of those states. So definitely home appreciate.
The rates have come down, and I want to finish my thought from before about,
Go ahead.
like I've started with the piggy. You know, if you got approved last year, like Becky said, and you were on the sidelines and you're still not pulling the trigger, this is the time to call that person and say, hey, let's reevaluate this, because now that the rates have dropped, you can get more house for your money. I literally went through a couple that we worked on. I think it might have been February. And I said, hey, I know you said you're going to wait till next year, but let's reevaluate this. Rates were XYZ when I approved you. They've dropped, in this case, it's FHA. They've dropped over a point. We could approve you for a $2,800 payment before. Now that $2,800 payment gets us a $310,000 house instead of a $280,000 house. They're like, wait, what? That's like 30 more grand. This is the time to reevaluate. Call your loan officer. If you were on the sidelines before, the rates have dropped. You can get more bang for your buck. You know what I mean? And that might put you in the price range you want. And so now these people are starting to look.
I'm glad you mentioned that, actually, because I wrote down credit on that because it plays such a significant role in what that right might be and the cost of the housing. So it's really important if you get an opportunity, if you're thinking about buying this spring, get in touch with us, get that strong pre-approval letter. Becky, you can work on your credit now. And if that credit score, you want it as high as possible. 780 and above is considered the best credit.
Yeah, but if you don't have a 780, don't not make the phone call.
Right.
Like we can lend as low as 580, to be honest with you. That would be FHA. And speaking of that, like I had a first-time buyer yesterday close. We worked together for 2 years. It was a lot of credit building. It was, I'm in the market, I'm out of the market, I'm frustrated, I'm not frustrated, like developing that rapport. And then the right home fell onto her laps. Like she really didn't get out of the market. It was just one of those like moments of frustration, but she was always, like consistently throwing in offers on homes. And then the one that was supposed to be for her finally landed, and we closed yesterday. And so our first conversation literally was in 2023, I believe. And we fixed the credit. And then the last year was finding the perfect home. So start the conversations, because it's no pressure. You don't have, just because you have a conversation with us doesn't mean you're buying a house in 5 minutes. It's your timeline, not ours. And we're just here to guide you and help you. We're not going to take your credit card over the phone because you're having a conversation with us. That's not what this is about. And if someone does want to take your credit card information just because you had a conversation, please hang up with them and call us instead. Thank you.
Please.
Yeah, you want to get away from those headset phone
Well,
jockeys,
if you're looking to buy a house and you call Amy and say, Amy, I'm looking to buy a house, and Amy says, well, when are you looking to buy? And you say in the spring. You have to prepare for the spring.
Yeah.
What's going to end up happening is we'll do all the homework for you now, but these lower rates are going to bring more people into the market. That'll be more competition. Home prices are not going to go down. When there's more of a demand, prices go up. When there are more people in the market looking, because rates are down, and that's going to be a trigger mechanism to get people into the market, Amy, the prices are going to go up. There'll be more competition. You have to be ready to pull the trigger. When you're ready, we'll be ready. But we're going to do all the prep work for you. And as Becky said, Lisa will tell you this. Harvey, I feel very passionate about this. We're not going to take your credit card and run it through just to hold you to us. I don't even want to use the H word because it's a bad word right now. We don't take that H deposit money to hold you so you're tied to us.
It never costs you anything.
It costs you zero. All right? Don't pay that money up front.
Yeah, and Amy, you can call Amy and you can get some great advice. And Amy, that's one of the things too. A lot of people out there, potential sellers, they truly need to interview maybe 1, 2, maybe a handful of agents because they just don't know. Sometimes you just get pointed in the wrong direction. I think people find out afterwards that it wasn't the right person. But yeah, you definitely want to get some market analysis done. Give us a call. It's pretty important nowadays where people just want to know what's going on with their house.
Yeah, absolutely. Before I sit down with a potential seller, I've done a lot of homework. I've put hours into it. I've looked thoroughly, the condition of property, what's going on in their area. It's a big process. And, then sitting down and finding out what are your goals. Sometimes people need my support. Sometimes sellers, they've been thinking about downsizing, they want to right size, maybe they raise their family, and they might need resources, like maybe they need an estate sale. They just, need someone to help create a timeline. And absolutely, that's all part of my job.
Boy, guys, I spent a lot of money at Myers the other day. I'm just
Ew.
bringing this up because the
I'm
cost of
upset
living, and I'm
about
starting to
what-
read
makes
into
me
some
upset
things
already.
here. So, yeah, I mean, the cost of living, this is one of the things, too. And we were talking about reevaluating because lower rates now. So we were talking about reevaluating your overall financial picture.
Yeah.
Things cost a lot more money, except for gas. Gas, believe it or not, is well under $3 now. So that's been a little bit more affordable. We do see the cost of living, groceries, it's still up there. So important to have these individuals in your life, better financial advisors. I mean, it's like the guy said before, hey, I'm going to fund my own project. Do you hire a financial advisor? There's just a lot of things that we can open up your eyes to. So getting more professionals, Amy, you said,
You're
putting
talking
that
about,
plan
like
together.
budgeting, and
Go.
it all goes with the conversations that you're having in the beginning, right? It's, I want to buy a house. Okay, that's great. What price point are you seeing yourself in? Well, Becky, I want to buy a $200,000 and $250,000 loan. Okay, how did you arrive that? What do you want your payment to be? And then just because someone says they want $250,000, once we look at it, they might be only qualifying for $150,000 because they don't know what the budget is. Because just because you maybe can afford on paper $200,000, we all know that there's things on your credit report that we don't see. There is cable, there's DTE, there's groceries, there's cost of living, like you're talking about, and all that goes into this perfect portfolio that we are going to put together for you and say, hey, it looks like you can afford $2,000. However, I think it might be a little bit more comfortable for you to be around $1,500 because the payment's going to increase because of the taxes. You have to be forward thinking. And, ideally, I don't think groceries are going to come down because now they know we're going to pay it. I mean, that's a whole other conversation.
Right.
But it is wild. I mean, I spent like $400. I'm like, what did I even buy?
Yeah.
What did I even buy?
Right. There was no steak or no nothing, no protein.
If you got to buy some cleaning products, man, forget about it.
yeah.
You're out of here.
They're getting crazy.
But yeah, it is something that it is affecting everybody in America, but that should not hinder you from stepping away from renting if you can, because there's renting makes sense when it makes sense. But if you can now put yourself in the driver's seat where you're building your own real estate portfolio, that's what we're here to do. We're help to, kind of pave that path for you.
All right, we have some open lines here towards the end of the show, 248-539-9797. A reminder to call us at Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE. Get great information, deal with the real experts. Maybe even ask when you are calling around, hey, how many years? I don't have a problem with it. We have all experienced people at our office and a staff that can support it. Again, if you're new in the industry, I don't knock that all the time, but you got to have some supporting staff behind you, people that can point you in the right directions. What's wrong with asking somebody? I mean, you'll ask your doctor, is this your first operation or have you done this a few times? And again, the expertise of people out there is truly important. Use those skills to benefit yourself.
Absolutely. I tell people all the time, you might be a doctor and I might have a general practitioner, but I'm not going to him for brain surgery. You have to realize everybody has a niche. Everybody's a little better at something than somebody else. And that's not a bad thing. God's given us all gifts and we all should be playing up to those gifts. And so sometimes you got to talk to a few people and you'll be like, oh my gosh, I really connected to that person. They said whatever they may have said, a phrase that really resonated with you. And that's okay, but it's about doing the research and making the call. And, it might not be me. Maybe you like Becky better. Maybe you want to deal with Harvey. We're all good. We are all here on the same team. We just want you to get started, and make the call and figure out, is this something that you really want to do? Are we ready to buy a home? Do you need to wait a year? Some people call, they think they're ready and they're not. We've got some homework to do. Some people think they've got homework to do. And I'm like, you're ready to go now.
Yeah.
All right,
just make the call and get started.
And Becky, you, of course, walked in with all this
yeah.
energy. So let me go there. Sports is part of our community. Of course, here we are doing the Mortgage Real Estate Show in our 25th year on the sports station in Metro Detroit. We thank 97.1 for giving us this opportunity. Becky, community and sports last night. Of course, I'm an official out at the Clarkston-Farmington game. Even though Clarkston gave them a whipping, boy, oh boy, they were all over them. But the sense of community is why I love going out on a Friday night or doing the high school football games or baseball. It's just so much fun. And a little salute to you, Becky, and the Lincoln Park softball team. From what year was this, Becky?
So last night we were announced that we're being inducted in the Hall of Fame. So it was our 1999 season, Mega Red champions, Final Four. We had a 33-2-1 record, and we were Final Four in the state. So we were last night on the softball field. They did a whole little montage. So it was really cool to be a part of that and them acknowledge that. But the Rail Splitters did get their butts handed to them by the Marauders last night. It was not good, but we were it's nice, but we were talking about the community. It was so nice to see. Some of them I haven't seen for like 20 years. And, everyone looks the same energy. It was like we picked up right where we left. And that's a part of where you're planning your roots is how your kids are going to grow up and when they become adults and having those connections that you can still plug into. So shout out to Lincoln Park Rail Splitters, my alma mater. And we are now officially crystallized in that history.
We'll give it to you, Amy. No doubt about that. When you're working with families, they want to be in a certain area because of that school district, because of the sense of community. Don't you still feel that when you work with these buyers?
Definitely. Yeah, there's communities where people want to return to the community they grew up in, and it's really exciting. It kind of feels like everyone knows everyone there, and it's a big part.
Right.
I love that. Hey, a little bit of consumer advocacy advice here, Harvey.
Please.
It's crazy now, all the scams that are going out. And I'm going to hold it up again.
Uh-oh.
Nice official looking thing. It's a scam. I've been approved for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Here's the check. Okay, no, don't do it. You're getting texts. You're getting letters. You're getting mass mail. You're getting robocalls. There was a big story on robocalls lately. Everybody's getting them. I mean, you cannot trust these callers. Only call people that you know, that you trust, that have your best interest at heart. All right. And do not give people money over the phone. Don't give them your account numbers. Don't give them your credit card numbers. Please don't do that. There are all these scammers out there looking to take your money. Please don't do that.
Great information here. The IRS, Comcast, they're not calling you, folks. You're calling them. They're not calling you. So you really got to be very careful about that. Yes. Alrighty, guys, that's it for the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. We're going to be back next Saturday, of course, and always continuously giving you great information about buying and selling. Be sure to call Capital Mortgage, 1-800-LOW-RATE. That's easy to remember. Amy Cairns, want to thank you for coming in, of course, giving us some great advice. If you need a real estate agent, reach out to Amy. She's at, what is that again?
Realty Executives Hometown.
Realty Executives Hometown. They're in Shelby Township. And for our entire staff, Becky Haley, Lisa Lawson, Harry Glantz, I'm Harvey Freed. We'll catch you next Saturday.